What's up, guys? That Movie Nerd here, aka Ethan Rowe. I'm here today. Finally, we're going to talk about my top 10 favorite TV shows of all time. Let's talk about it. Alright, top 10 favorite TV shows of all time. Also, I threw in some honorable mentions in there as well. So, before we get to that, I just want to say thank you all for watching and supporting me. It means a lot, truly. And if we can get to 50 subscribers, I'm going to do a live stream. I'll put up a poll and put out several topics and let you all vote on what the live stream topic will be about. And come on, let's get to 50 subscribers. We're at 45 right now. We only got 5 more to go. Share this video, like this video. Do whatever you can to get 50 subscribers, and we will have fun with that live stream. I can guarantee you that. But anyways, we're going to talk about this top 10 list. Honorable mentions coming up first, which is actually, I only did 4 honorable mentions, so it's like 11 through 14. And number 14, right off the bat, is Shameless. Shameless is a Showtime show. I think it's it's a Showtime show. And I actually caught that on Netflix, I think about 2 years ago or something like that. And I pretty much binge watched it whenever it was on Netflix. And I haven't watched season 9 yet, but I've watched all the seasons that are on Netflix. And that, I was just like fell in love. It looked like being a broke degenerate was lit when it's actually not. But, you know, it's the performances by William H. Macy, who plays Frank Gallagher, is phenomenal. I can't remember the name of the girl who plays Fiona in that show. Maybe it was someone let me know. But she does phenomenal in that show too. She is a really, really good actress. Very underrated. But Shameless, what can I say about it? It's pretty good. I'm just going to go through these honorable mentions real quick. But number 13 is Bloodline. That is a Netflix show with Kyle Chandler in it. It's only 3 seasons, but that show was really, really good. and by no means, every single show that's on this list is actually a very, very good show. It was actually really hard to sit down and like rank these. It was actually really hard to. So none of these are a bad show. It's just, you know, the list that, you know, I think that's the better show. The better show. But yeah, Bloodline, Kyle Chandler, number 13. I can't remember who plays alongside him as his brother. He's a big time actor. He's always playing a villain. And of course, he plays in Star Wars Rogue One. He plays in all. He played in Captain Marvel as the leader of the Skrull, but I cannot remember his name. Someone please let me know. I keep going blank here, but that pretty much just tells a story of a family, a dysfunctional family at that, who ended up doing a really bad thing, and the show is pretty much dealing with the consequences of that bad thing. If you haven't watched it, I won't spoil it for you, but that's pretty much the premise of it. And number 12 is another Netflix show. It's a Marvel superhero show, Jessica Jones. Now, Jessica Jones season 3 is already out, but I haven't got the time to watch it yet. But I've watched the first 2 seasons, and I absolutely love it. I binged watched both seasons. Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter, is a badass. The definition of a badass. It, from what I understand, it is, the first season's actually really comic book accurate from what I understand, and I love that. I love that it's pretty much staying true to its roots, and I don't know. It's just, oh, and David Tennant, who plays Kilgrave in season 1, also, season 2 as well. I don't know about season 3 yet, so no spoilers for me. But Kilgrave is honestly my favorite villain in the Marvel Netflix series. He did such a phenomenal job. He was so menacing, so intimidating, and he's just with his mind control powers. It was just, it's very fucked up, really. But yeah, number 12, Jessica Jones, and all right, we're on to number 11, right before the top 10. This one was originally in my number 10, but I had time to think on this and really ponder on it. But I decided that my number 10 now, I kind of like that just a little bit more, since there's more seasons, if you will, and more time to develop. If this show that's my number 11 had a second season or a third season, it would definitely be in the top 10, I'm sure. But my number 11 is The Umbrella Academy, Netflix original. My mother actually introduced me to this show, and at first I was a little bit skeptical about it because, it's like, trying the, I guess you could say, superpower thing, but, taking a dark turn, like a dark idea, really. Like, it's a dark show. It really is a dark show, and it's like rated TV made for a reason. But it's just the different storylines with each character. It's like, all right, it's like the first episode, you're literally like watching a movie, and it takes its time to explain everything, like that slow burn that I've been talking about ad nauseum here on this channel. That slow burn, and just taking its time to explain each and every character, and it does that with every episode. And the only thing I really didn't like about this show, I mean, it's just a small nitpick, it's just how it ended, but I can understand the reason why it ended that way, because they left it off for season 2, and thankfully they are doing a season 2, because if that was the actual end, I'd be pissed. But Umbrella Academy, my number 11. So, got the honorable mentions out of the way. Let's get to this top 10 list, shall we? My top 10, like I said earlier, it struggled, between 11 and 10. It was a real big struggle. But number 10 is Stranger Things. Now, Stranger Things Season 3 comes out next week, actually, on July 4th, Independence Day here in America. But, what can I say about Stranger Things? My mother actually introduced me to this show as well, back in 2016. Of course, I watched the first couple episodes back then. I really didn't get into it at first, so I kind of pulled away from it. But then I came back to it probably about a year later, and I was just automatically hooked. I guess you could say I wasn't ready, but it's just every episode in season 1 was just flat out phenomenal, like seriously. And season 2, of course, don't get me wrong, season 2 was an amazing season. It actually opened it up, potentially for a spinoff series, I should say. But I still like season 1 better than season 2, just by a hair though. But I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what season 3 is going to bring. The trailers look amazing. They actually did it like in a movie style format, what they did with the trailers, because they dropped an announcement poster, they dropped a teaser poster, teaser trailer, an official trailer, and a last official trailer. They like really went all out for this season, and you could just tell by the cinematography, the production value in this season. It really looks like a movie, and I'm really, really hoping that all this hype isn't for nothing. So, that's my number 10. My number 9 is a CW show, one that I really got into for a while there, and it is Arrow. Arrow starring Stephen Amell and Emily Rickards and David. I'm drawing a blank. He's the guy who plays John Diggle in Arrow, but I know his first name is David, but I cannot remember his last name. Someone please, for the love of God, help me out, please. But Arrow, it pretty much started the whole Arrowverse, if you will, on the CW channel, because Arrow started Flash, and then just picked up Supergirl and Black Lightning, and now that Batwoman series is coming out, which honestly I do not have an interest for it. And DC's Legends of Tomorrow as well. I only have an interest for the Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and DC's Legends of Tomorrow. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. But Arrow, if you like action-packed, kind of like dark, gritty TV shows, superhero shows at that, this is the show for you, honestly. There are some seasons that are kind of like maybe not as good as the prior season, but overall as a show, it made my top 10 for a reason. So, I'm not going to just put a show in here that's not, that's mediocre at best, even though the show might have a wonky season, if it's overall sticks to the formula, then, we're doing good. But anyways, that's my number 9. My number 8 is also another CW superhero show, and that is The Flash. The Flash, what can I say about The Flash? I still haven't watched season 5 yet. Oh, and backtrack. I still haven't watched the new season of Arrow yet. I know they're on Netflix. Hopefully I'll get the time eventually to watch them. But anyways, haven't watched season 5 of The Flash yet, but I really look forward to watching it. I've honestly enjoyed every single season of The Flash. And, of course, my favorite season, it's a toss-up between 1 or 2. 1 or 2 was like excellent television. And, like, the story building in The Flash, of course, you really have to pay attention in this show because it jumps around a lot. Talking about multiverse, time travel, a lot of sciencey stuff, really. Of course, I'm sure all that sciencey stuff is, really stretched out because, you have to make it interesting for the audience. But, all in all, it is interesting. It's actually kind of fun to watch. And you have great characters. You have some damn good villains in this show as well. And it's just, with each season, it just keeps building and building and building, which I hope whenever the series finally does end, it's not going to be a disappointment because they built so much that also leads to expectations to being really, really high. And a lot of times, shows or movies can't fulfill those expectations, and it leads to a flop. So that's my only worry for The Flash. But moving on to my number 7 is a Marvel Netflix series is Daredevil. Daredevil, honestly, I thought it was actually going to be higher whenever I sat down and made this list, but number 7 is the right spot for this show. And Daredevil, what can I say? Wow. This was actually the first Marvel Netflix show that was released to Netflix, and I guess it takes place after the events of the Avengers, the very first Avengers, because they talk about, the incident, stuff like that, and how New York was in ruins in the first season, and it's just like on the up and up, and Hell's Kitchen as well. And that first season, honestly, I don't know if it won an Emmy or something like that, but if it didn't, it damn should have. It really should have. And that second season was even, like, I thought the second season was even better. And just for the fair fact that the Punisher was in that. I watched the Punisher TV show, and it was actually kind of disappointing. I mean, it had its badass moments, but actually rather disappointing. I thought the Punisher was what am I trying to say? He was executed better in season 2 of Daredevil, and Elektra in season 2 as well she was hot and she was badass. So those two things combined, you just have a flawless character, and she actually had some depth to her. She actually really had, like, you actually cared about her towards the end of the series, or end of that season. And season 3, I haven't had a chance to watch that yet. I've watched only one episode. I really, really liked it because it picks up right after the Defenders. But I haven't had the chance to watch that yet because my work schedule is crazy. But whenever I get around to it, I will do a season review. And of course, that's the last season, so I'll probably end up doing a series review on that as well. Go in depth on every season. Or I could just do 3 separate videos, season 1, season 2, season 3 reviews. I may do that. We'll see. All I know is there's going to be a Daredevil review. But number 6 is Breaking Bad. Now, the reason why Breaking Bad is not higher on this list is because during some seasons, it took too long to get to the nitty gritty. Whenever I talk about slow burn, you have to execute it just right. And sometimes during Breaking Bad, it really, really took its time. Like, at some points, I actually kind of got bored. But, boy, did season 5 really make up for all those flaws about, the slow burn and at some points boredom. Season 5 really, they did not throw no punches, honestly. That season 5 is probably one of the greatest seasons in television of all time, honestly. And, of course, I love the story in Breaking Bad. Chemist turns bad, if you will, just for the sake of his family and just for the sake of him. He needed money and he turned to making meth. I mean, he was desperate. And, I mean, what would you do? What would I do? I mean, I couldn't make meth, but, but seriously, it's pretty much, like the scenario of being in the middle of a rock and a hard place, it for lack of better terms. But number 6 is Breaking Bad. Top 5 now. Now this was even harder to do. But my number 5, even though it had probably the worst ending of television history. Now, I haven't finished Game of Thrones yet because I hear that had the worst ending. But to me, I honestly don't think nothing will ever beat this ending. Dexter. Dexter was a phenomenal TV show. Every season just kept building and building and building. And the stakes just kept getting higher and higher and higher. And it had some excellent villains in it. My favorite villain was John Lithgow. He played the Trinity Killer. I think either season 3 or 4. And that was the season Rita died as well at the very end. And it's just, wow. All that building for a ending like that. You talk about pissing a lot of fans off, and me in particular. Of course, I cried, bawled like a baby whenever that happened. And if you watch the show, you know what I'm talking about. And oh gosh, it left it open for another season. And honestly, they do need to come back for another season and fix that shit of a season 8 ending. Like, for real. Oh, I'm getting off on a rant there. But anyways, Dexter's my number 5. Great show. Horrible ending. It would have been probably my number 1 if it wasn't for that ending, honestly. But moving on to number 4. And this actually might surprise a lot of people. Actually surprised me as well. But number 4, Mike Flanagan's The Haunting of Hill House. It's a Netflix show. I know it only has 1 season, but if you watch that show, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. The Haunting of Hill House had your horror aspects, it had your lighthearted aspects to it. It had a mixture of pretty much everything. And of course, you had your drama between the siblings, and it's just, trying going episode by episode of like, what was it really like living in that house? And of course, they revealed it little by little. And it was just the way the story was executed. The cinematography was very well executed. Just everything about this show was just phenomenal. Honestly, this would probably be higher on the list if it had more seasons. And they are working on another season. I don't know if it's going to be a continuation or if it's going to be a different story, like an anthology series. I would actually be open to an anthology series, honestly. But, of course, it wouldn't be Hill House no more. It would be Haunting of such and such. If anyone has any news on that, just drop it in the comments and let me know. But anyways, that's my number 4. Number 3, Friday Night Lights. Yes, Friday Night Lights. Friday Night Lights is based off the movie back in 2004 with Billy Bob Thornton in it. And Kyle Chandler plays the coach in this show. And it was actually the very first time I got introduced to Kyle Chandler. I know he's played in other movies, and I just didn't know who he was at the time. But this show was actually the very first show I ever binge watched. And this show actually has a very special place in my heart. And I always will. I just hated that Netflix took it off. And I will forever have a grudge against them for it too. And also the next show as well, Netflix took off. And I'm still pretty mad at them about it as well. But Friday Night Lights, only 5 seasons. But that first season had 24 episodes in it, and it did a lot of character building. And honestly, I think that's a very smart move, really. Have a 24 episode first season, and then the rest, like if you have more seasons, make it like 10 or 13 episodes. Because that way you've already did your character building. Now, you can just take your characters wherever you want them to go. Honestly, I think that's actually very, very smart. And of course, with the show like Friday Night Lights, you can only go so far. And I'm glad that they realized that, because season 5 was actually starting to push it a little bit. But then again, it was such a great ending to that show. Honestly, Coach Taylor and his wife got exactly what they needed. Everyone had pretty much a happy ending, and that was just so beautiful on how they wrapped it up, honestly. But anyways, that's my number 3. Number 2, probably be another surprise to everybody, which wasn't a surprise to me. It's a sitcom, How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother, regardless of the ending, it's not as bad as Dexter, but it's still kind of... How I Met Your Mother also holds a special place in my heart because it's such a beautiful story, honestly. It's a story about a man who explains to his kids like how he was and how he had to become as a man to finally meet their mother, to finally be with their mother. And it's just, of course, you have the beautiful story of the friendship between Marshall, Lily, Ted, Barney, and Robin. How they pretty much all stuck together through thick and thin, pretty much most of their adult life, and then on, actually. And it's just, of course, you have your love triangles, you have your drama in there, and it's pretty much what you want out of a show, you will get in that show, honestly. And plus the comedy in it. It's just, honestly, it's one of the funniest sitcom comedies that you'll ever watch. I honestly think it's funnier than Two and a Half Men, Friends, Seinfeld, you name it, it's honestly funnier. And that's just my opinion, though. But, yep, that's my number 2. Number 1. Drum roll, please. Sons of Anarchy. Damn straight. Sons of Anarchy is my number 1. And my brother Kyle actually introduced me to this show. And, of course, at first I was just like, it's probably not for me. I was actually kind of hesitant on starting the show. It actually took me a little bit to finally sit down and watch it. And whenever I did sit down and watch it, I was hooked from the get-go. I was hooked from episode 1. And it's just the journey of Jax Teller in that show. It's so emotional. It's so heart-wrenching at times as well. And that last season, oh my goodness. that last season, season 7, was honestly an emotional roller coaster because of the cliffhanger that left it off in season 6. And it's just, wow, And of course, my brother was still, he was actually caught up and watching it week by week at the time, and I was still trying to play catch up. And I'm pretty sure he was like, he wanted to tell me what was happening, but he couldn't because that would totally ruin the show for me. And I did not want that show ruined for me at all. And everything came as a surprise. Everything was very well written. It was beautifully written at that. And it's just, there's a reason why this show is number 1 for me, honestly. And yeah. That is my top 10 favorite TV shows of all time. Excuse me. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry that my guest Nate Sigler couldn't come on today. Things happen. But he will definitely be on this channel as a guest sometime in the near future. We was actually talking about, like, whenever Spider-Man comes out, we might go see that together, and we'll do a review on that. Me and him will do a review on that together for you guys. So be watching out for that. He will be on. I will announce whenever he will be on, so you guys are just not thrown off. But remember, let's get to 50 subscribers, and we will do that live stream where we will have a lot of fun. Share this video, like this video, get this channel out there. Let's get it. But in the meantime, I will talk to you guys later. That Movie Nerd, he's out.